Chapter 1069. That's right. It was because of one time when he was practicing poison that he became an idiot and liked to wear women's clothes. After he recovered, he felt that wearing women's clothes wasn't bad, and it had been like that ever since. Although Ching Su is very good at refining poisons, in terms of treating illnesses, if he dares to call himself number 2, no one would dare to call themselves number 1. Wei Chang said in a deep voice. Yihua added, that's right, even I wouldn't claim to be number 1. After obtaining his honor's affirmation, his honor's subordinates knew that this person was indeed formidable. Although his honor's strength wasn't that great, he was much more formidable than those who had actual strength. Thus, I hope that you all will be able to find Ching Su and teach him a lesson. Just beat him up until his face is swollen. Yihua said faintly. Towards his honor's request, the three's expression stiffened. His honor, wasn't that a little too much? That was Ching Su, who had been tricked by him many times in the past. This fellow was able to casually poison an entire city of people to death. In the end, he even used this as a foundation to refine various versions of the Poison City medicine. He was simply a huge freak. Who knew where this guy was selling fake medicine or doing some shady business? Or he could chop off his own hand and reattach it in the shortest time possible. Who would dare to find such a perverted person? Only if you are sick would you go and look for me. Furthermore, his honor had even said that he wanted to beat up the gay guy until his nose and face were swollen. I'm afraid that when the time comes, I will be abused instead. Zhu Tian, why don't you go? Yihua said faintly. Zhu Tian's expression sunk as he cupped his hands and said, for your honor to be willing to hand such an important mission to subordinate, it means that you think highly of subordinate. However, your honor should also know that subordinate has just recovered his strength, and furthermore, subordinate's wife has yet to be satisfied. Therefore, I am unable to complete this important mission. Wei Chang and Lai Gu, he had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen someone as shameless as this. He had clearly recovered his strength, but he still said that he wanted to satisfy his wife. Why don't you just go and die? Wei Chang, you go. Yihua was able to understand Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian had just recovered, and the most important thing for him to do right now was to have sex with his wife. After all, Zhu Tian was a male cat, and he too had his physiological needs. Wei Chang immediately cupped his hands and said earnestly, Your Honor, subordinate had just reflected on what I did just now, and felt that Xiao Tang had suffered for so many years. Thus, subordinate has decided to end the 100 years of inertia in advance and complete Xiao Tang's long-cherished wish. Lai Gu, damn it. You two perverts, in order to not go, you actually went to talk to your own woman. You two are simply shameless. Yihua said gravely, Wei Chang, I am rather happy that you have such thoughts. Tang Wei, who was in the team, was also overjoyed. Uncle Wei is finally willing to touch me. It wasn't easy. Yihua's gaze looked towards Lai Gu. Lai Gu was frightened to the point that he trembled, then hurriedly cupped his hands and said, my wife, they can't leave me. All the subordinates, this reason was simply too hasty. It wasn't convincing at all. Yihua suddenly asked Wen Xia, is what Lai Gu said the truth? Wen Xia said respectfully, replying to your honor, it has already been a day since Lai Gu handed in the public rations. Wen Xia, I wasn't in the right state yesterday. Lai Gu hurriedly explained. This wife of mine is too good at swindling people. Yihua said faintly, Lai Gu, I will hand over the mission of finding Ching Su to you. I will give you the coordinates, remember. Teach him a good lesson, then bring him back. Lai Gu felt that he needed to pinch his philtrum, causing his breathing to become a bit hurried. I don't know if playing dead will be of any use right now. Big brother, you can do it, I support you. Dou Fusher, who was in the team, cheered for Lai Gu. In any case, Li Gu is the big brother who taught me how to comb my philtrum. I definitely have to cheer for him. Yihua said faintly, Li Gu, let's set off later. I will have to rely on you to treat my mother's illness. Li Gu, his honor is simply making things difficult for me. I obviously know where Qing Su is. Wouldn't it be fine if I just go and look for him? Why do I have to go and make the mission more difficult? However, Yihua had his own views. If I were to directly go and look for Qing Su, it would seem as if I am going to look for him. Furthermore, this Qing Su needs to be taught a lesson, and this lesson cannot be taught by me. I have to let someone else do it. Your Honor, I have a request. Li Gu felt that he was done for, and thus, he spoke out his final wish. Say it, as long as I am able to do it, I will definitely do it for you. Everyone felt that Li Gu was making his final wishes. This is too miserable. Your Honor, I wish to bring a person along with me. Li Gu said gravely. Hearing Li Gu's words, everyone shivered. They were afraid that if Li Gu were to call out their name, they would definitely die. The girls were very at ease. The person that Li Gu was calling out to was definitely a guy. All right, I will allow you to do it. Yihua waved his hand and said heroically. Do Fusher. Li Gu said straightforwardly. As the big brother, I am about to die. As the little brother, how can you, as the little brother, watch with folded arms at the side? However, Li Han, who was within the crowd, cried out in surprise, Hubby, why did you faint? Do Fusher had already fainted. It's fine if I am cheated by my wife, but now, I am cheated by my big brother as well. I might as well just die. Yihua took a deep breath and said faintly, after going to the God's realm this time, I discovered a few serious problems, and those problems are also important matters for our team in the future. Wei Chang, Zhu Tian, the two of you properly think of a countermeasure. Yes. I haven't even said what the problem is, and the two of you already said it. Can you please be more attentive? Yihua shouted out coldly. Wei Chang and Zhu Tian hurriedly bowed down. Your Honor, please forgive us, it is all a conditioned reflex. Yihua, guardians have appeared in the God's realm too. Thus, I feel that this group of guardians is hiding a very big secret. They seem to have collectively lost their memories, remember this point. LV Liang hurriedly noted it down. Yihua continued, there is definitely a secret that cannot be told to anyone behind this. Is it the loss of morals, or is it the protrusion of the bottom line? The subordinates felt that what Yihua said made too much sense. There is one more thing. The deity encountered a weapon. This weapon is very formidable, it is capable of harming me, let alone you all. Fortunately, the person who wielded this weapon is very weak, thus, there is no need to fear him. However, I still hope to be able to possess such a weapon. I will inform Wei Chang about the materials that I need. Try your best to find as many of those materials as you can. For the sake of safety, Yihua naturally had to make a foolproof plan, only then would he be able to protect the safety of the entire team. However, upon hearing that it was such a formidable weapon, the subordinates were all extremely shocked. Just what kind of weapon was it that was capable of harming his honor? Your Honor, what exactly is this weapon? Wei Chang asked puzzledly. Chapter 1070. This kind of weapon is above the primordial divine weapon and is called a legendary weapon. This is also the first time I've heard of it. Right now, there's only one in the entire world. Yihua said gravely. This is a weapon that will be able to threaten me. This feels very exciting. After all, in this world, there were too few things that could threaten the main body. All the subordinates were shocked. A legendary weapon. Holy sh*t, this is the first time I've heard of it. It sounds awesome. Was it the kind that emitted colorful light, like a Krypton item, dazzling and gaudy? Towards this legendary weapon, Absolute Heaven was exceptionally cautious. Your Honor, if such a weapon were to appear in batches, I'm afraid that it would be disadvantageous for us. Yi Hua slightly propped up his chin and said faintly, this kind of legendary weapons manufacturing process is very complicated, and it is definitely impossible for it to appear in batches. I also want to make one. Yes. The subordinates replied respectfully. Yi Hua stood up and swept his gaze across all of his subordinates. This time around, all of the missions have been assigned to everyone. Everyone, go out and search for the mission. Don't say that I am not going to give you any missions. This time around, this is a chance for all of you to perform. However, all of you still have to remember a few questions. Your Honor, please speak. First of all, we are good people. We would never kill the innocent. Even if we were to kill the innocent, we would have to do it properly. After all, killing is not a good move. Are you all clear? Understood. Then let's go. Get busy. We will solemnly obey Your Honor's decree. We will take our leave. The subordinates instantly disappeared from where they stood. Yi Hua let out a breath. Bringing along a group of mischievous subordinates sure isn't easy. Sometimes, I feel like my head is going to explode. Then, what should I do? Didn't Mother tell me to make love to Sister Yuqing as soon as possible? Indeed, they should have done it, but he still had to reject her a few times. He couldn't let little Sister Yuqing get it so easily. After all, if she got it too easily, she wouldn't treasure it. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji are a good example. I must let little Sister Yuqing know that it is a great honor to be able to have sex with me. I, the Supreme Overlord, am truly a king genius, to actually be able to think of such a damaging method. All of his subordinates were ready to go. The most tragic one was Do Fusher. Hubby, go in peace. Drifting Soul leaned against Do Fusher's chest and whispered softly, but why did her words sound so strange? In the past, Do Fusher felt that he was extremely lucky to have such a good wife like Soul Flame, but it only happened now. He was extremely unlucky to have a wife like Li Huan. It was only a matter of a few seconds for her husband to die. She didn't even blink her eyes. There was no way he could continue living like this. I'm afraid I won't be able to return this time. Do Fusher said in pain. Li Hun said softly, hubby, even if something bad happens to you, I will avenge you and then live as a widow in peace. Floating world, do you have to be so mischievous? Can you be more attentive? Brother die. Hubby, I am just joking, with Li Gu around, it will be fine. Didn't Uncle Wei say it before? Broken arms and legs can be reattached. I reckon that broken head can be reattached too. As long as you don't do that, it will be fine. Floating world, the hell, who exactly do you love? I, floating world, am very suspicious right now. Alright, I will be leaving first. Obediently complete the mission. I will properly serve you when I return. Moi, Soul Flame carried a mischievous look as she kissed Floating World, then walked out of the house. Floating World let out a deep sigh. How would you guys understand the pain of having a sexy wife? This kind of luck with women is truly unbearable. Look at me, Floating World, I have become so skinny these few years. The entire party left the city in a very short amount of time. They were laughing and chatting happily, as if they were taking a breather. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yi Juetian was very depressed. Looking at the sun gradually setting, he wondered what Yi was doing, whether she was anxious or not. Why am I, Yi Juetian, worrying about a woman, so annoying? Mother, I am going out to take a walk. Yi Juetian said lightly. Lu Jing closed her eyes and said faintly, where do you want to go? I am just taking a walk in the palace. Thinking of running again? Lu Jing asked in a low voice, a little unhappy. Mother, I am really not running, I am just taking a walk. Yi Juetian explained bitterly. He was really a little worried about Yi, please don't let anything happen to her. You are not allowed. Yi Juetian, mother, this time, I will definitely listen to you and big brother and obediently marry a wife. I promise that I will not run away. After saying that, Yi Juetian even swore. Lu Jing slowly opened her eyes, feeling that her son was a little strange today. Just what do you want to do outside? Lu Jing asked seriously. I am bored, there are many fun things to do in Voidless Empire. Your big brother has already gone to look for a girl for you. During this period of time, just wait patiently. After you get married, you can go out and have fun. Yi Juetian was very speechless. What kind of logic was mother using? Then, I will just take a walk in the palace, alright? Lu Jing paused for a moment, then slowly said, alright, but remember, if you run out, mother will not let you off. Don't worry. After saying that, Yi Juetian ran out of the house. Lu Jing shook her head. How old was he already, yet his playfulness was still so big. Chapter 1071. Quickly look, His Majesty seems to be looking for something. That's right, he seems to have been looking for 4 hours already. I wonder what treasure His Majesty dropped, for him to be in such a hurry. The citizens started discussing amongst themselves. Right now, Yi Juetian had already searched for 3 hours, but he did not see Yi's shadow at all, as if she had disappeared into thin air. Yi is so beautiful right now, what if someone captures Yi and then humiliates her? Thinking about the terrifying consequences, Yi Juetian felt very vexed and frustrated, wishing that he could loudly call out Yi's name. Gradually, Wushu Empire's lights slowly extinguished, and everyone entered their sleep. Yi Juetian walked on the cold street, his expression a bit hesitant. Yi definitely met with an accident, damn it. The weather is so cold, and Yi isn't wearing much, and she's so beautiful, f*ck. Yi Juetian fiercely stomped on the ground, and the ground instantly cracked. I really shouldn't have done this. With a disappointed expression, Yi Juetian walked towards the entrance of the palace. If Yi really met with an accident, I really won't be able to forgive myself. Suddenly, a faint sobbing sound entered Yi Juetian's ears. Yi Juetian was shocked. This sound. Yi Juetian hurriedly ran towards the source of the sound, and at the entrance of the palace, he saw a petite figure sitting on the ground. Looking at this figure, Yi Juetian felt that it was Yi. Yi Juetian madly ran over. Yi's white dress was already very dirty, and traces of blood could be seen on her arms. There were also traces of blood on the ground. Yi Juetian stood beside Yi, and his heart felt a bit sour. Yi, who was sitting on the ground, seemed to have felt that there was someone beside her, and she slowly raised her head. When she saw Yi Juetian, even more tears flowed out from her eyes. Yay! Yi directly pounced into Yi Juetian's embrace and hugged him fiercely, then cried out loudly. Yi Juetian's heart ached for Yi right now. He lightly hugged the girl in his embrace and consoled her softly. Yi, don't cry, I'm here. Yay, where did you go? I couldn't even find you. Yi choked with sobs as she asked, her tears drenching Yi Juetian's chest. Yi, I'm sorry, I was careless. Why are you injured? Yi Juetian asked in a deep voice. There was actually someone who dared to hurt Yi. How could their hearts be so vicious, to actually bully an ordinary girl? Yi pitifully said, I want to go in and find you, but these people won't let me. Yi Juetian looked at the black-armored warrior at the entrance of the palace. So it was Yi who wanted to go in and look for him. Indeed, after waiting for an entire afternoon, Yi still did not see Yi Juetian come, so she went out to look for him. After finding out that the emperor was staying in this luxurious palace, Yi went to the palace gates and wanted to go in. However, after being pushed to the ground by the black-armored warrior over and over again, the scars on his arms were caused by the friction. Yi Juetian really wanted to give these black armored warriors a good beating. They actually dared to bully a defenseless girl. How shameless. Yi, don't be afraid. Let's go back. Yes. The two of them returned to the tavern. Yi Juetian naturally wanted to treat Yi's injuries. Seeing that the wound on her arm had healed in an instant, Yi revealed a sweet smile. Yay, you're amazing. Seeing that Yi revealed such a smile, Yi Juetian forced out a smile. Upon thinking about how Yi was pushed down by the black-armored warrior, Yi Juetian felt uncomfortable in his heart. Yay, I'm sorry, did I make you lose face? Yi seemed to have sensed something and said disappointedly. Yi Juetian stretched out his hand and stroked Yi's hair. No, how could you make me lose face? They all say that I am very stupid, and I also feel that I am very stupid. Yi lowered his head and said. Whoever dares to say that you are stupid, I will beat that person up. Yi Juetian patted on his chest and guaranteed. Yi lightly bit onto her lips and did not say anything. Right at this moment, Yi Hua's voice rang out in Yi Juetian's mind. Where did you run off to this time? Yi Hua questioned coldly. Yi Juetian held onto his forehead. I just found Yi, and I didn't even have the chance to say a few words to her. Big brother, I am at the palace. Who are you lying to? You are at the palace, hurry up and come back. Mother is looking for you. Alright, I will come back immediately. After cutting off the communication, Yi Juetian looked at Yi who was in front of him, not knowing what to say, and not knowing how to start the conversation. Are you leaving again? Yi asked in a low voice. Yi Juetian let out a sigh and lightly held on to that pair of slender and delicate hands of Yi. Yi, I am going back. Yi Juetian said apologetically. Yi mustered up her courage and said, Yay, can you bring me back together with you? I don't want to leave you. Yi, listen to me, I can't right now, but can you give me a bit of time? Yi Juetian felt that he must have gone mad. Why would he say such a thing? Yay, I believe everything that you say, and I will listen to everything that you say. However, please don't abandon me, alright? I have decided to follow you, and I have decided to follow you forever. Yi said with incomparable sincerity. This caused Yi Juetian, who had never been in a relationship, to feel very touched. In actuality, when Yi Juetian saw how Yi was acting at the entrance of the palace to look for him, his heart had already loosened up. At the start, he was attracted by Yi's beauty, and then, he was moved by Yi. Right now, it was still the same. After all, Yi Juetian had never been in a relationship before, and it was very easy for him to be moved. Chapter 1072. I, the Supreme Overlord, can choose not to listen to my wife's words, but I, the Supreme Overlord, have decided to listen to my mother's words. This is a kind of respect and filial piety. Yi Juetian hurriedly explained, I was just taking a walk outside to experience the customs of the people so that I can help Big Bro in the future. Qingye and the others didn't make a sound, and they appeared to be very well behaved because Yi Hua had flown into a rage. They felt that Yi Hua's temper didn't come from nowhere, and their granny's temper seemed to be the same as well. Towards those who were disobedient, their granny would definitely not be careless. Tell me the truth. Lu Jing said in a deep voice. Mother, this is the truth. Your son doesn't dare to lie to you. Yi Juetian's heart was beating like a drum. He couldn't have been discovered, right? Lu Jing sighed deeply and slowly closed her eyes. Of course, Yi Hua knew what his mother meant. His mother wanted him to deal with this matter. Kneel down. Yi Hua said coldly. Yi Juetian was completely confused, and he stupidly asked, Big brother? I told you to kneel. Do you hear me or not? Yi Hua shouted out coldly, and a powerful pressure immediately pressed down onto Yi Juetian. How could Yi Juetian possibly be able to withstand it? Yi Juetian knew that his mother and big brother were not playing around, so he quickly knelt beside his mother. Speak. What did you do today? Yi Hua questioned. Big brother, I really didn't do anything. You're still lying. Do you still have any respect for mother and big brother? Yi Hua was immediately exposed, and his pair of eyes were about to spew fire. For a woman, he actually deceived his own family. He really wanted to hang her up and whip her. Today, the rumors that were spreading in the city had already reached Yi Hua's ears. During dinner time, Yi Hua was still bewildered. I didn't even go out, so why would there be an affair happening? And Yi Hua immediately thought of my younger brother. She had never expected that her brother would pick up a woman on the street and even get a room with her the moment he entered the city. He had even tricked his mother into going out to look for that woman. Now, he was still hiding it from her. It seemed like this younger brother of his was simply bewitched. Lu Jing said in a low voice, Ju Tian, what's that girl called? Yi Juetian's heart sank. Had he been discovered? Mother, he is just a pitiful girl. Yi Juetian hurriedly explained. You're deceiving your mother for a pitiful girl? Lu Jing questioned in a solemn voice. No, it's not like that. I'm just helping her out of kindness. I don't have any other intentions. Yi Juetian did not even think about it and hurriedly distanced himself from Yi. This was not because he was afraid, but because he wanted to protect Yi. Lu Jing said faintly, it's best if that's the case. From now on, you are grounded. Grounded? Yi Juetian found this hard to believe. Was there a need to be so vicious? Yi Hua said gravely, not just any woman can marry into Yi family, Ju Tian. You know this, not to mention it's an ordinary woman. If you want to find a woman, Big Brother is already looking for outstanding ones for you. Just wait and see. If it was before today, Yi Juetian would be very happy. The woman that his big brother found for him would definitely be very powerful, but now, he didn't think like that. His mind was filled with that weak and beautiful figure, and she seemed so helpless. But what could he do? Big brother, I understand. Yi Juetian nodded. He could not continue to interact with Yi, or else his big brother might do something to Yi. This was something that he did not want to see. Yi Hua stretched out his palm. Yi Juetian raised his head and looked at his elder brother in confusion. Hand it over. Yi Hua said coldly. What? What? I dare you to say that again. Yi Hua's gaze turned cold. Still acting. Yi Juetian obediently took out the small bamboo tube from his pocket, then placed it onto his big brother's hand. Yi Hua looked at Yi Juetian coldly, and the small bamboo tube that was in his hand instantly turned into dregs. You are still a bit too inexperienced. Xian Yuqing, who was at the side, looked at the current Yi Juetian and slightly wrinkled her brows. The current Yi Juetian is very abnormal. Could it be that he really fell in love with that girl? Go back and think about it properly. Don't force Big Brother to do something that will make you unhappy. Yi Hua said gravely. Big Brother, I understand. Go back and rest. Yi Juetian stood up, then said respectfully, Mother, sister-in-law, I will go back first. Lu Jing nodded her head, then instructed lightly, don't cause any more trouble. All right. After finished speaking, Yi Juetian left. When he arrived at his own palace, Yi Juetian discovered that there was a barrier set up here, and judging from the strength of the barrier, it was personally created by his big brother. As long as one steps into the barrier, one can forget about coming out. However, upon thinking about his big brother's words, Yi Juetian still chose to walk into the barrier. This might be fate, but not fate. I'm sorry, Mother, you should rest early. Yi Hua said lightly. And you all should go back and rest first. For the sake of Juetian, I still haven't slept yet. As the big sister, Qingye took the lead and said, "Mother, we will be going back first. We will come and accompany you tomorrow morning." All right. Lu Jing said with a slight smile. When looking for a daughter-in-law, one must look for someone like Qingye, who is knowledgeable, dignified and virtuous, who would be able to help her son no matter what. Only this kind of person would have the qualifications to step into the door of Yi family. Yi Hua brought along his 3 wives and walked out of his mother's palace. Right now, Daji had already become Lu Jing's personal maid. The main reason why Yi Hua wanted Daji to properly protect his mother was because eating like this would allow him to be at ease. After returning to his mother's palace, under the service of his 3 wives, Yi Hua took off his clothes. This was definitely the enjoyment of an emperor. However, tonight, Qian Yuqing was very nervous, and when she was helping Yi Hua take off his clothes, her hands were trembling. "Qingye, what do you think about this matter?" Yi Hua suddenly asked. In actuality, Qingye understood what Yi Hua meant. The current situation was not normal, and it was not as casual as it was in the past. Furthermore, Yi Juetian was Yi Hua's blood-related younger brother, and Yi Hua definitely placed a lot of importance on marriage. However, as a modern person, love should be free, and it shouldn't be restricted by one's family background. Actually, I feel that, before Qingye could finish speaking, Yi Hua said faintly, "There's no need to say any more. Yuqing, what do you think?" Qian Yuqing went into a daze, then said, "A well-matched match." Qian Yuqing lived in the gods' realm, and since young, she had been instilled with some principles. A well-matched match was the foundation, and back then, she and Yi Hua were also a well-matched match. I have already asked people to inquire about it. That woman has been in Wushu Empire for a period of time, and the things that she has done are unsightly, and she doesn't even have the appearance of a woman. It is impossible for such a woman to marry into Yi family. Yi Hua said very resolutely. In actuality, from the fact that Yi Hua found wives for his subordinates, even Yi Hong found a deity-level wife, and this was even his blood-related younger brother. How could Yi Hua not care about it? Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi were helpless. Since Yi Hua has already said it, it will be very hard for him to change his mind. Qian Yuqing lowered her head and remained silent. "Go and sleep," Yi Hua said faintly. Donghuang Baizhi laughed, "I won't disturb the 2 of you then." Chapter 1073. Yi Hua didn't have the mood to mess around today, thus he said faintly, "What are you talking about being free and unfettered? I am just sleeping." "Mother said that you and Yuqing are going to get pregnant," Qingye said with a light smile. "This matter isn't urgent, let's deal with Yi Juetian's matter first," Yi Hua said calmly. Qian Yuqing, who was at the side, was a little disappointed. "Why hasn't Yi Hua touched me?" Both Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi didn't know what Yi Hua was trying to do. Leaving a great beauty alone and not touching her is very strange. In actuality, Yi Hua was really not in the mood today. Just thinking about it makes me angry. My blood-related younger brother actually picked up a dirty woman from the street and went to get a room with her, and in the end, he even lied to her. Just thinking about it makes me so angry that I want to give him a slap. Yi Hua was the first to lie on the bed. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi then took off their clothes. As for Qian Yuqing, who had just arrived here, she was a bit unable to let go of herself. She stood at her original spot and looked at Yi Hua foolishly. Yi Hua's gaze looked towards Qian Yuqing, who was in a daze, and seemed to be asking, "What are you still doing? Are you going to stand for the whole night?" However, Qian Yuqing slightly misunderstood Yi Hua's meaning. "Yi Hua is like a tyrant staring at you, hurry up and take off your clothes." In order to not make Yi Hua angry, Qian Yuqing could only take off her clothes one by one with grievance. Needless to say, taking it off in slow motion was exceptionally tasteful. Even Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi were stupefied by what they saw. That wronged look on Donghuang Baizhi's face caused others to feel pity for her. "Yuqing, come over." Dong Huang Baiji waved her hand and gave her position to Qian Yuqing. Before Qian Yuqing could even react, she was already pushed into Yi Hua's embrace by Dong Huang Baiji. Yi Hua's mood became much better. This is the result that I, the Supreme Overlord, wanted the two of them to take the initiative to push Qian Yuqing into my embrace. This is the rhythm, and I still have to pretend to be unwilling. TSK, TSK, TSK. Leaning against Yi Hua's side, Qian Yuqing was very nervous. This was really the first time that Qian Yuqing was leaning against Yi Hua's side. That kind of feeling that Qian Yuqing's skin was touching Yi Hua's skin gave off a peculiar feeling, just like getting an electric shock. Yuqing. Yi Hua said faintly. And Qian Yuqing rubbed her head and replied. I am finally able to snuggle into Yi Hua's embrace, it feels so comfortable. Tomorrow, let's go and take a look and see just what kind of woman managed to make Yi Juetian so infatuated with her to this extent. Yi Hua said gravely. In fact, Qian Yuqing also wanted to meet him. She answered very decisively, yes, I understand. The main thing is to see if he is a spy or not. If he is a spy, I will directly kill him. Yi Hua was very decisive when it came to killing. If I want to keep him alive, even if the Heavenly King wants to kill him, I won't let him die. But if he were to die, then even the heavens could not save him. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji didn't express their opinions. If they were to express their opinions right now, it would mean that they would be scolded by Yi Hua. What if he isn't a spy? Qian Yuqing asked in a low voice while lightly rubbing against Yi Hua's chest. So comfortable. Yi Hua pondered for a moment, then said faintly, let's see Absolute Heaven's reaction first. If he continues to persist in going about things the wrong way, then just send him away. If he lets go, then don't bother with him anymore. All three women felt that this suggestion was fine. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji let out a sigh of relief. We were just afraid that Yi Hua would suddenly say that he wants to kill someone. Right now, we still don't know what exactly is going to happen. Yi Hua let out a deep sigh, then gradually fell asleep. I must hurry up and settle the matter of Yi Juetian's marriage so that my mother won't be worried anymore. The next morning, under the three empresses' service, Yi Hua put on the emperor's gown. Right now, Yi Hua still had long hair, and when paired with the emperor's gown, he was simply indescribably handsome. At the very least, the three empresses were mesmerized by Yi Hua. The long-haired Yi Hua had an enigmatic attractiveness. Right now, Yi Hua was having breakfast together with his mother. There was nothing that could be said about Blood Demon's culinary skills. When the stir-fried rice noodle was praised by Lu Jing, Blood Demon was terrified. To be able to be praised by his honor's mother, that would be the honor of his entire life. After breakfast, Qian Yuqing had to go and handle some matters. However, before that, Qian Yuqing didn't anxiously go and look for Yi. Instead, she went to look for Yi Juetian first. After arriving at Yi Juetian's palace, Yi Juetian could be seen sitting in the garden and daydreaming. He had been sitting there since yesterday night. Qian Yuqing could be heard laughing lightly. So little Tian knows how to think about girls too. Yi Juetian went into a daze. When he saw that his sister-in-law had arrived, he hurriedly stood up and shouted, "Sister-in-law." Qian Yuqing slowly sat beside Yi Juetian and looked at Wushu Empire's sky. I'm going to see her later, Qian Yuqing said softly. Yi Juetian's heart sank, and said with a pleading tone, "Sister-in-law, Yi really doesn't know anything, please don't make things difficult for her." Looks like he has truly fallen in love with her. Looking at Yi Juetian's appearance, Qian Yuqing was very clear. Yi Juetian lowered his head and didn't say anything. He didn't want to admit it, fearing that something might happen. What? Chapter 1074. A cold glint shot straight towards Yi's white jade neck. The sharp sword did not pierce through Yi's throat and stopped on her skin bit by bit. But right now, Yi did not even frown, and her eyelashes did not even tremble. Facing an overlord's assassination, only an overlord would be able to remain so shamelessly calm. However, even if it was an overlord, they would still resist. Qian Yuqing was naturally probing. From this initial probing, she felt that this Yi shouldn't be that kind of spy. After dissolving the sharp sword, Qian Yuqing sat on the wooden stool and looked at Yi, who was lying on the bed. This girl's appearance is indeed astonishing, no wonder little Tian likes her so much. It can't be that he only did this because he took a fancy to her good looks, right? Of course, good looks are one of the reasons, but it's not like Yi Juetian has never seen good looks before, and his taste had long become better. However, Yi was the first woman who was good-looking and treated him well, which was why Yi Juetian liked her. Although he had not been in contact with her for long, the feeling he got from her was very good, as if he had known her for a very long time. Qian Yuqing didn't know what was going on, and felt that little Tian only took a fancy to her good looks. Little Tian is a deity and is also a man of Yi family, so his wife is definitely not an ordinary person. However, other than this girl's good looks, there is nothing else about her. It is impossible for her to enter Yi family. Actually, in Yi Hua's heart, deity Yi family and Wushu Empire's Yi family were two different things. After sitting for a while, Qian Yuqing decided to wake up Yi, who was lying on the bed. Yi knitted her brows and slowly opened her eyes. She immediately raised her hand and looked towards the small bamboo tube in her hand. Just now, when I was dreaming, I seemed to have heard the bamboo tube ringing. However, right now, I didn't hear it at all. Cough. Qian Yuqing coughed lightly. Yi was startled. She saw an unfamiliar woman sitting beside the table, and the woman was very beautiful. Yi could be seen immediately sitting up, grabbing onto the bedding tightly as she asked nervously, "Who are you?" Yi's reaction was seen by Qian Yuqing. This woman is indeed capable of making one feel pity for her. This little Tian had never experienced such a thing before, and it was unavoidable for him to have a desire to protect her. "Don't worry, I won't hurt you," Qian Yuqing said softly. Her gentle tone made Yi feel slightly relieved. "Really?" Yi asked back. Qian Yuqing seemed to have somewhat understood why Xiao Tian would like her. This kind of delicate and pitiful look would cause a man to want to protect her uncontrollably, and within this look, there was also a kind of silly personality, appearing especially naive and not scheming at all. "Really?" Qian Yuqing nodded. She had a preliminary understanding. Yi exhaled, put on her shoes, and walked to the side of the table. Puzzled, she asked, "Why are you looking for me?" Qian Yuqing was considering whether to tell Yi that it was impossible for her and little Tian to be together. If she was willing to let go, little Tian would definitely not pester her. However, this was just a thought. Qian Yuqing did not intend to do so for the time being. "I am Yi Juetian's sister-in-law." Qian Yuqing directly revealed her identity. "Ah, you are Ye's sister-in-law." Yi cried out and panicked, not knowing what to do. She poked at her clothes and hurriedly took out a cup to pour some water. However, her hands were not steady and the water splashed onto Qian Yuqing's clothes. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Yi hurriedly apologized and wiped the water away in a flurry. Qian Yuqing let out a breath. With Yi's current appearance, it was really difficult. Yi family still paid a lot of attention to their appearance. "Yi, it's all right, you sit first." Qian Yuqing did not mind and said lightly. With an apologetic look, Yi lowered her head and sat opposite of Qian Yuqing. "Do you like Xiao Tian?" Qian Yuqing asked lightly. Yi raised her head and looked towards Qian Yuqing, then said softly, "Ye is the first person who truly cares about me. I am willing to leave with him." In actuality, no matter if it was in Kangluo continent or God's realm, women were still rather traditional. If they liked someone, they liked him, if they didn't like him, they didn't like him. At least, that was what he thought. When I was being mocked and humiliated by others, he was the one who helped me. That was why I am willing to do anything for him. Hearing what he said, Qian Yuqing felt that they have feelings for each other. If that's the case, then there will be trouble. Right now, I can either cut the Gordian knot, or, this matter is really hard to decide. I should first go back and tell Yihua about it and see what Yihua's attitude is. I feel that this Yi is still alright. If Yihua is able to agree to it, I will definitely be able to convince my mother. However, right now, Yihua and my mother are standing on the same side. Yi didn't know what to call Qian Yuqing and directly shouted out, "Sister-in-law, did something happen to Ye?" Qian Yuqing was startled. You can even guess this. If I don't know, I would think that you two have been together for a very long time. Nothing happened. Xiao Tian has been very busy recently, so he didn't have time to come and see you. Qian Yuqing could only say that. After hearing that, Yi nodded her head, but in her heart, she was still a bit disappointed. I know, Ye had already told me yesterday. And I will be leaving first. Seeing that Qian Yuqing was about to leave, Yi hurriedly asked, "Sister-in-law, when will Ye have time to come and see me?" Qian Yuqing paused for a moment, then said unhurriedly, "It will be very soon." "Thank you, sister-in-law." Yi didn't know that Qian Yuqing was lying to her, and the naive Yi believed everything that Qian Yuqing said. Just like that, Qian Yuqing disappeared from the room and directly went to look for Yihua. Meanwhile, Yihua was currently in a boring waiting period. He was sitting in the garden, and Qingye was accompanying him by the side, while Donghuang Baizhi was brewing tea. "Yihua, I am back." Qian Yuqing's body appeared beside Yihua. Yihua nodded his head and asked faintly, "How is it?" Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi looked towards Qian Yuqing. They were very curious about what kind of girl Yi Juetian likes. Qian Yuqing pursed her lips and said lightly, "Yihua, she is just an ordinary person. I have tried to probe her, but this girl is indeed beautiful, but she also has a weak side to her. It seems like what?" Yihua asked faintly. "Seems like she likes Xiao Tian a lot," Qian Yuqing straightforwardly said. After hearing that, Yihua's brows wrinkled, then asked again, "Yuqing, how do you think we should deal with the two of them?" "Yihua, this girl's identity is just ordinary, everything else about her is still alright. I feel that it should be fine to let the two of them interact with each other." Qian Yuqing still chose to help Yi Juetian. After all, she had watched Yi Juetian grow up, and Yi Juetian was more or less like a blood-related younger brother. Now that there is a girl that Yi Juetian likes, no matter what, she has to support Yi Juetian. After hearing that, Yihua's expression sunk, then said faintly, "I will take it that you didn't say that." Qian Yuqing didn't say anything. Seems like Yihua still doesn't agree to it. However, Yihua was currently pondering. Hearing Qian Yuqing's description, this girl called Yi should be a bit similar to Dongfang Yue. Chapter 1075. Back then, Dongfang Yuan was also soft and weak, and even Zhu Tian couldn't control himself. And this Yi's appearance was above Dongfang Yuan's, so how could I, as her biological younger brother, resist? If he isn't my biological younger brother, then let him be. Since he is my biological younger brother, I naturally have to choose the best one. It is definitely impossible for an ordinary person. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi didn't say anything, but in their hearts, they felt that Yihua's actions were a bit too extreme. Especially Qingye. "Back then, I was also just an ordinary girl, didn't I still get deceived by you? Now that little Tian likes an ordinary girl, you don't want to let him have his way. This is really incomprehensible." Qingye felt that she was ordinary, but was she really ordinary? Qingye, who had Nua's bloodline, was destined to not be ordinary. Back then, Donghuang Baizhi was still an empress, and she had Donghuang's bloodline. If one were to say ordinary, only Qing Yutong was slightly ordinary, but she was still a flower in the system world. All in all, Yihua's women all had their own outstanding points, none of them were ordinary. Yihua, what do you plan to do now? Keeping little Tian locked up isn't a solution. Donghuang Baiji said a fair sentence. Yihua also knew that this wasn't a long-term solution, and he had to think of a solution, just that he hadn't thought of one yet. 3 days passed by very quickly. In the middle of the night, Yi stood beside the window, looking very miserable. Especially those eyes that were looking at the palace, they were clearly right in front of her, yet she felt that they were thousands of miles apart. Looking at the small bamboo tube in his hand, it has already been 3 days, and Ye didn't say a single word to me. Sister-in-law said that Ye is very busy, and she definitely doesn't have time to talk to me. That must be the case. When Ye is done with her work, she will naturally be able to talk to me, and that will be enough. I just have to wait a bit more. Meanwhile, in the palace, Yi Juetian was still sitting in the garden, looking towards the direction of the tavern. It has already been 3 days, I wonder how Yi is doing. She wouldn't barge into the palace like last time, right? This silly girl, you are just an ordinary person, don't do stupid things, those black-armored soldiers will kill you. Yi Juetian originally thought that he would be fine after calming down for a few days, maybe it was just a moment of impulse. However, not only did he not stop for the past 3 days, he even missed her even more and worried about her. It was as if he could not live without her. It seemed that he was really poisoned by love. Now, he could understand sister-in-law's feelings. This feeling was really unbearable. What are you thinking about? A familiar voice entered Yi Juetian's ears. Yi Juetian respectfully called out, "Sister-in-law." Qian Yuqing smiled and sat beside Yi Juetian. She asked indifferently, "It has already been 3 days. Have you thought it through?" "Sister-in-law, did Big Brother ask you to ask me?" Yi Juetian pouted and asked. "No." Qian Yuqing shook her head. Of course, Yi Juetian believed in his sister-in-law. "Is Yi alright?" "She's pretty good. I went to see her last time. She's a pretty good girl," Qian Yuqing said lightly. "However, it was useless for me to agree to it. In this family, it seems like my mother is the boss, but in actuality, Yihua is the boss. However, if mother were to relent, Yihua would most likely listen to her. However, mother was also very persistent and very angry." "Sister-in-law, do you also think Yi is good?" Yi Juetian seemed to be very excited. There was finally someone who had the same thoughts as him. It was as if he had found a comrade who shared the same ideals. Qian Yuqing smiled and nodded her head. After a long while, Yi Juetian said seriously, "Sister-in-law, I don't want Big Brother to introduce me anymore." Back then, Yi Juetian was the one who wanted Big Brother to introduce a girl to him, but right now, he changed his mind. After all, he met someone that he liked. However, right now, Yihua had already sent his subordinates out to look for a girl. This is definitely not a joke. Whatever you say, it will be done. Who do you think Big Brother is? Do you think that Big Brother's subordinates are so free that their balls hurt? Do you think that they are all helping you look for women to play with? Qian Yuqing said gravely, "Shh, little Tian, don't let your Big Brother hear what you said, if not, Yi might be in danger. Big Brother can't possibly kill Yi, that's impossible." Yi Juetian felt that his Big Brother wasn't that kind of person. However, Yihua really wasn't that kind of person, hee. Back then, Yihua had also threatened Wei Chang and Lai Gu verbally, telling their women to be more well-behaved, if not, he would directly kill them. Don't think that this was just a joke, Yihua was definitely serious. "Those who dare to obstruct my plans, I will kill them." Qingye said, "If you infuriate your Big Brother, he will really do such a thing." Qian Yuqing said cautiously. During these few days, she had discussed with Qingye and Donghuang Baiji to see if there was a way to solve this problem that would satisfy both sides. At this time, Yi Juetian recalled that day, when Big Brother massacred over 10,000 ordinary people. He did not even blink his eyes at all. Sister-in-law, what should I do now? Yi Juetian was a bit afraid right now. He was afraid that Big Brother would secretly kill Yi. Little Tian, I have discussed with Qinya and the others. In front of your Big Brother, you must not mention Yi. The more you treat Yi coldly, the better it will be for Yi, understand? Treat Yi coldly. Yi Juetian mumbled. Sister-in-law, I want to talk to Yi, can you help me? Yi Juetian asked with a pleading tone, and that helpless little gaze of his truly made one sigh. Xian Yuqing nodded her head, then secretly passed a mirror to Yi Juetian. Hide this properly, don't let your Big Brother find out about this, if not, I will be in trouble too. Sister-in-law, I understand, thank you. Idiot, back then, you helped big sister-in-law quite a bit, so it is only right for big sister-in-law to help you. Yi Juetian revealed out a smile, however, this smile seemed to be very bitter. Alright, big sister-in-law will send the mirror over to Yi and let you two talk. Qian Yuqing said with a teasing tone. In the past, you often laughed at big sister-in-law's infatuation, and now, you should have experienced it yourself, right? Yi Juetian's face turned red. Sister-in-law is truly mischievous, taking revenge on me. Qian Yuqing left and became a spy. However, at a dark corner, Yi Hua's face was gloomy. These three women. They actually went against me. Their guts are truly getting fatter and fatter. Especially this Qian Yuqing, she actually became a traitor. Very good, you three are the ones who forced me to do this. At this moment, Qian Yuqing arrived at Yi's room. Sister-in-law. Yi had not slept yet, and she was currently looking at the small bamboo tube on the table. Qian Yuqing felt that this girl really likes little Tian. It doesn't matter if this girl doesn't have any background, the most important thing is for the two of them to be in love with each other. Take this mirror. Qian Yuqing did not say anything and directly took out the mirror and passed it to Yi. Sister-in-law, this is. Yi, little Tian will not be coming out to meet you for the time being. This is your temporary method of contact, I will be leaving first. After finished speaking, Qian Yuqing disappeared, afraid that she would be discovered by Yi Hua. Chapter 1076. Sister-in-law. Qian Yuqing still wanted to ask when she would be able to see Ye again. E. A familiar voice rang out. Yi immediately looked towards the mirror in her hands, and Yi Juetian's handsome little face appeared in the mirror. Yay! Is it really you? Yi immediately became emotional as she tightly held on to the exquisite mirror in her hands. Big tears flowed down her cheeks. It has been 3 days since I last saw him, and it felt like 3 spring and autumn had passed. And, it's me. Yi, how have you been these few days? Yi Juetian was also very emotional right now. He wished that he could break the barrier and rush to Yi's side, hug this girl into his embrace, and properly protect her. Good, Ye, are you still busy? Did I disturb you? Hearing Yi's guilty tone, Yi Juetian felt very uncomfortable. No, you didn't disturb me. That's good. I heard from others that the people who live in the palace are all very busy and have to deal with a lot of big matters. Idiot, don't cry, it was I who disturbed you. Yi Juetian laughed and said. Just talking like this made him feel very happy. No, Ye didn't disturb me. Yi said very seriously, but when this seriousness landed into Yi Juetian's eyes, he felt very sad. During this night, the two of them kept chatting, and they even talked about the future. They were both very happy, and they were also filled with hope towards the future. However, inside Yi Hua's bedroom, Yi Hua pretended that he didn't know anything and opened his arms, while his 3 wives were helping him take off his clothes. Yuqing, where did you go just now? Yihua asked faintly. Qian Yuqing was startled, but she quickly calmed down and said with a gentle smile, I went to see little Tian, then I went to prepare the food for tomorrow's breakfast. Thank you for your hard work. Yihua revealed a trace of a smile, but this smile wasn't a real smile. However, Qian Yuqing didn't know that this was the first time she lied to Yihua, and she was so nervous. Will I be beaten to death by Yihua? After taking off his clothes, Yihua laid on the big bed, and the three wives that were as beautiful as goddesses laid beside him. Yihua hugged Qian Yuqing in his embrace, and his hands weren't idle at all. To actually dare to lie to me, the three of you are good, your guts are not ordinary. Yuqing. Yihua called lightly. A layer of redness appeared on Qian Yuqing's white skin. There was no helping it, Yihua was taking advantage of her. Yihua. Qian Yuqing couldn't help but say while trembling. How is little Tian's reaction today? Yihua asked faintly. Along with this question, Qian Yuqing shivered and held onto Yihua's arm tightly. After a long time, Qian Yuqing said in a low voice, It's much better than before. That's good, I will ask him tomorrow. Go to sleep. Yihua said lightly. Qian Yuqing was very depressed. Why wasn't he touching her yet? He had already touched everything that needed to be touched. He was just missing the last bit. Qinye and Dong Huang Baiji felt that something was amiss. After all, they had been husband and wife for so many years, and they were able to figure out what Yihua was thinking. The next morning, Yi Juetian stretched and was in a good mood. He felt that his relationship with Yi was becoming better and better. This stupid woman could really make people happy. However, right at this moment, his big brother's voice rang out in Yi Juetian's mind. Come and have breakfast with mother. Yi Juetian went into a daze, then hurriedly responded. The barrier outside had disappeared. Is big brother planning to let me go? This is great. Right now, Yi Juetian wished that he could immediately run out and hug Yi tightly. However, his rationality told him that he couldn't do that. If he were to do that, he would definitely anger his mother and big brother. At that time, Yi would be in danger. Suppressing the impulse in his heart, Yi Juetian walked towards his mother's bedroom. Big brother and sister-in-law could be seen at the door. After walking in, Yi Juetian shouted out respectfully, Mother, big brother, sister-in-law. Little Tian, sit. Lu Jing said gently. N. Yi Juetian sat beside Lu Jing and sneaked a glance at his big brother. Seeing that his expression was normal, Yi Juetian finally let out a breath of relief. Afterward, Yi Juetian sneaked a glance at his big sister-in-law, seemingly asking what happened today. Did big brother's brain go haywire? Qian Yuqing did not say anything, but she used her gaze to warn Yi Juetian not to speak recklessly. I don't feel right today. Right now, Lu Jing was eating the steamed dumplings that Blood Demon made. The dumplings were dipped in soy sauce, and the taste was very delicious. Little Tian, how is your reflection these few days? Lu Jing asked. Yi Juetian placed down his chopsticks and said earnestly, I have thought it through clearly, big brother and mother are both doing this for my own good, therefore, I will listen to your arrangements, and will not think about anything else. Lu Jing was very satisfied with this kind of promise, and Yihua nodded his head. Qian Yuqing let out a breath of relief. You are smart, you know to advance in order to retreat, this is the only way to protect Yi. At this time, Yihua asked faintly, Little Tian, what you mean to say is that you don't like that girl anymore? Big brother, I just had a sudden impulse, it's just 3 minutes of passion, after that, I will be fine. Yi Juetian said earnestly. Yihua had a very gratified look on his face, Little Tian, big brother is very happy that you are able to say this. In a few more days, there should be news coming over, and at that time, you will be able to choose who you want. After getting along with her for a period of time, you will be able to form a family, and at that time, you will be able to conquer the world together with Big Brother. And, Big Brother, I understand. Yi Juetian patted on his chest, but in his heart, he was thinking about other things. At that time, I will just say that I am not satisfied, I can only do this. After dinner, Yi Juetian obediently went back to his bedroom, and discovered that the barrier had really disappeared. Does that mean that I can sneak out of the palace now? Not good, not good, Big Brother is very crafty, it is very possible that he is secretly monitoring me. I can't go out, right now is a crucial time, I definitely can't screw up. For the time being, I will use this mirror to chat and think of a way to go out. 5 days passed by very quickly. During these few days, Yi Juetian was very obedient, and he didn't even step out of the palace. Just by using the mirror to communicate, the two seemed to have endless topics to talk about, and their feelings for each other seemed to be getting deeper and deeper. On this night, the two were still chatting normally. Yay, I am going to sleep, aw, you are going to sleep so early. Back then, the two of them chatted for a very very long time, and they chatted to the point where they couldn't even open their eyes. With a mischievous smile on her face, Yi said, "And I will give you a surprise tomorrow." Surprise? What surprise? Tell me now. Nope, hurry up and tell me, if not, I will hit you. Don't want, I am going to sleep. Yi straightforwardly cut off the connection. Yi Juetian laughed lightly. After getting to know Yi for the past few days, Yi Juetian found out that Yi was naive and romantic, and even had a bit of a silly taste to her. However, this kind of silliness seemed very cute. That's why, when beautiful women are silly, they are cute, and when ugly women are silly, they are really silly. With a satisfied smile on her face, Yi went to sleep. I am looking forward to tomorrow's arrival, Ye will definitely be very happy. Chapter 1077. The next morning, Yi Hua brought his wives and mother to have breakfast together. Of course, Yi Juetian was there too. Little Tian, your complexion seems to be quite good these few days. What made you so happy? Lu Jing asked curiously when she saw the smile on her son's face. Yi Juetian was naturally reminiscing about the time he spent with Yi. When I think about Big Brother introducing a girl to me, I feel very happy. Yi Juetian said casually. In actuality, he wasn't looking forward to it at all. Rather, he was looking forward to Yi's surprise. Yi Hua laughed lightly, you will definitely be satisfied. After saying that, Yi Hua continued, recently, I discovered that there are still relatively few people serving in the palace. Little Tian is also going to get married soon, so I hired some palace maids to take care of some of the trivial matters in the palace. The three wives went into a daze. I never heard Yi Hua say anything about this matter, why did he suddenly hire palace maids? After hearing that, Lu Jing smiled in satisfaction, Yi Hua, we indeed have to hire some maids. This way, the palace will seem more lively. Mother is right. After we finish eating, Mother, do you want to go and choose the palace maids for the palace? Yi Hua asked attentively. Although there was Daji serving by Lu Jing's side, Daji was, after all, a single person. Her workload was rather heavy, and Lu Jing liked those who were pleasing to the eye, not those who were eloquent. All right, I will go and choose a few later. Lu Jing said tenderly. Yi Hua then said to Yi Juetian, Little Tian, you go and choose a few later too. All right, Big Brother. Yi Juetian replied respectfully. Qingye and the others were all astonished. Is Yi Hua sending people to monitor Little Tian? After eating breakfast, Daji whispered into Yi Hua's ears. Mother, they are all here, they are just outside. Yi Hua said with a light smile. All right, Mother will go and take a look. Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji supported Lu Jing on the left and right and walked out of the palace. The people standing outside the palace were all women who wore pink court attire. Their looks were delicate and their figures were alluring. They slightly lowered their heads, feeling very nervous in their hearts. This is Wushu Empire's emperor. A supreme existence. To be able to serve him would be the honor of their lives. However, within the crowd, only one woman raised her head, her gaze was filled with doubt. Right now, Yi Juetian and Qian Yuqing's expressions were stiff. They immediately saw Yi in the group. It couldn't be helped, Yi was too outstanding, how could Yi enter the palace? Yi Juetian's mind buzzed. No wonder Yi said that she wanted to give him a surprise. How could this be a surprise? This was even scarier than a scare. The imperial palace was a tiger's den. Why are you so foolish? Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji both noticed the two's expressions, and in the end, they looked towards the most outstanding girl in the group. This girl should be that Yi, right? However, this should be arranged by Yi Hua, but just what is the intention behind Yi Hua's arrangement? Yi, who was in the team, looked at the two Yis. She felt very strange. Was she seeing things? Why were there two of them? But when Yi saw Yi, who was in the middle, she felt fear, but Yi, who was beside her, felt joy. The palace-made recruitment this time around was indeed arranged by Yi Hua. Yi's registration could be said to be a coincidence, because no one persuaded Yi to register. Yi had only heard that there was a way to enter the palace, and thus, she went to register. Yi Hua was very satisfied with the name list. This is fishing, those who are willing to take the bait. Little Tian, you are going to get married soon, you can choose first. Yi Hua said faintly. Hearing that, Yi Juetian's heart sunk. He completely did not understand what his big brother meant by this. However, when Yi heard that, she became joyous. Yi is going to marry me. I'm so happy he even hid it from me, but luckily, I came today and heard it. Qian Yuqing was very worried, but it was not good for her to say anything right now. Lu Jing smiled and said, Little Tian, you can choose first. Yi Juetian was very nervous, and he really wanted to choose Yi. Looking at Yi's expectant gaze, Yi Juetian tightly clenched his teeth. Big brother is definitely testing me. Yi's appearance is definitely not a coincidence. Yi Juetian revealed out a smile and said, Thank you, mother and big brother. Then, little Tian will not be polite. Yi Juetian pointed at a few people, but Yi was not among those people. Yi Hua stood there and did not say anything. Qian Yuqing slightly let out a breath of relief, little Tian is still rather rational. Yi, who was in the team, wrinkled her brows. Why didn't Yi choose me and chose another girl? Could it be that he didn't see me? That's not right. He clearly saw me, so why didn't he choose me? Little Tian, that girl is very beautiful. Why didn't you choose her? Lu Jing asked curiously. Yi Juetian said in a low voice, Mother, beauty doesn't mean anything. In the end, it's just skin. Lu Jing chuckled. I didn't expect little Tian to have such an understanding. You've really grown up. Mother won't be polite then. At this moment, Yi was in a daze. What did Ye just say? My heart is in so much pain, why did Ye say such a thing? After Lu Jing selected Yi, Qingye began to assign the others. After Yi Juetian finished choosing people, he left, as if he was not willing to stay for even a moment longer. However, Yi wanted to talk to Ye, but Ye's coldness made Yi's heart ache. She did not know what she had done wrong for Ye to ignore her. When Yi Hua saw this, he immediately left. Yi Juetian, who had returned to his own palace, tightly clenched his fists. How could such a thing happen? Was it Big Brother's doing? It must be. It had to be. Yi Juetian immediately took out a mirror and called Yi. Yi felt the vibration of the mirror and quickly hid to the side. Yi. Ye, are you not happy? Looking at Yi's wronged look, Yi Juetian felt that he shouldn't have done this. Why did you appear here? A few days ago, I saw that the palace was recruiting palace maids, and I thought that since you are in the palace, if I were to come in, we would be able to meet each other every day. Thus, I came here. No one forced you to come here? Yi Juetian asked puzzledly. Could it be that Big Brother didn't do this? Yi shook her head. No, I came here on my own. Yay, I'm sorry. I didn't listen to you again. Yi Juetian held onto his forehead. What should I do now? Yi could be seen slightly lowering her head, then asked while feeling wronged, Yay, why didn't you choose me just now? Listen to me, you must listen to me seriously, do you understand? Yi Juetian didn't hide it anymore. If I still don't tell Yi, what would I do if Yi misunderstood? I will listen seriously. My big brother and my mother don't approve of us being together. Yi Juetian said gravely. Upon hearing that, Yi immediately asked, Is there something that Yi didn't do well? I am able to change. Although I am a bit stupid, I will definitely be able to change if given some time. The more Yi said this, the more uncomfortable Yi Juetian felt in his heart. This isn't a problem of whether or not you can change, this is because you are just an ordinary girl. Chapter 1078. This isn't your problem, my big brother even found a fiancé for me. After hearing that, Yi became stupefied. Fiancé? So the wife that I was talking about just now wasn't me, but someone else, Yi. Seeing Yi's stupefied look, Yi Juetian hurriedly shouted out. Yay, why didn't you tell me about these things before? Yi didn't understand. Why did I only find out about it now? I didn't say anything before, if I didn't appear today, would I have never found out about it? This fiancé was confirmed a long time ago, at that time, I still didn't know you. Do you know that I am serious towards you? Yi understood, and immediately revealed a pure smile, yay, I believe you. The situation right now is a bit complicated, believe me, I will handle it well. Yi Juetian said gravely. I will definitely think of a way that satisfies both sides, and let mother and big brother accept Yi. And I will also work hard, yay, you can be at ease. For your safety, I will pretend to be very cold, don't take it to heart, understand? Yi Juetian was afraid that his big brother would act recklessly and hurt Yi. After hearing that, Yi remained silent for a while. Yay, I know, I can bear it. I have wronged you. Yi revealed a comforting smile. No, as long as I can see you every day, I can accept it. You fool, why are you so foolish? Yi Juetian felt very sad in his heart. Meeting a girl like Yi is truly my luck. Yi could be seen pouting her small mouth. I won't talk to Ye anymore, the female official has something to arrange. And, be careful. Alright, don't worry about me. Looking at the mirror turning black, Yi Juetian let out a heavy sigh, unable to calm down no matter what. Just what should I do now? Just what should I do to make big brother and mother satisfied? Right now, Yi was currently listening to the female official talking about the big and small matters, and she seemed very serious. She felt that she definitely had to do well, only then would she be able to receive the acknowledgement of Ye's family. However, when the surrounding palace maids saw Yi, they seemed to be a bit hostile. After all, Yi was too outstanding, and these palace maids were jealous of her. Who knows, this woman might become a phoenix one day. Yi did not notice this as she listened attentively. In the future, you will be responsible for the Empress Dowager's daily life. The female official was also a little envious of Yi. As long as a girl looked good, she would have an advantage. Indeed, as long as a girl was good-looking, no matter which plane she was in, she would be very popular. This was an unchanging law. Yes. Yi was delighted. She had heard from Ye that this Empress Dowager was Ye's mother. As long as he served Ye's mother well, she would definitely look at him in a new light. The daily work was quickly arranged, and from now on, Yi became Lu Jing's personal palace maid. Being with Daji would also make Daji feel more at ease. At that moment, Daji was also telling Yi about the things to pay attention to. Yi stood by the side and listened obediently. Lu Jing sat not far away. He felt that this girl called Yi was not bad, but if Yi was to be his daughter-in-law, Lu Jing would oppose it, because Yi's birth was too lowly, and the concept of a suitable match had long been deeply engraved in Lu Jing's heart. After all, the gods' realm was like this. Yi, you have to remember what I am going to say next, you cannot be careless. Daji said solemnly. I will definitely remember it. Daji could be seen opening a box, and within it laid 6 small bottles. This is the Empress Dowager's daily necessities. Pour a bowl of clear water, then add a drop of spirit spring water, understand? Daji warned solemnly. This was not a joke, she had to be careful, after all, this concerned Lu Jing's life. I understand. Yi nodded her head. This was not hard to understand, she felt that her daily work was rather simple, it was not as complicated as she imagined it to be. Daji nodded her head, go and do your work first, in the future, if I am not around, remember to give the spirit spring water to the Empress Dowager to drink. Yi said seriously. On the other side, Yihua also received news from Wei Chang. Things were going rather smoothly, and they had found quite a few candidates. Yihua also saw the image that was sent over. All of them had decent looks, and they were worthy of little Tian. Their strengths were decent too, and when necessary, they could even help little Tian. Zhu Tian seemed to have found a few as well, and all of them were pretty decent. These 7 deadly sins' eyesight is truly sharp. As for those subordinates, forget about them, they are all rather ordinary women, and they are not worthy of my blood brother. I will just go and gather the materials, and when the time comes, I will be able to forge a rather unique legendary weapon. Right now, the 3 women sat together and chatted. The content of their chatting was naturally regarding Yi Juetian and Yi. I feel that this should be planned by Yihua alone. Qingya raised her opinion. After being husband and wife for so long, how could I not know Yihua's character? Dongguang Baiji nodded her head, agreeing with Qingya's suggestion, that's right. Actually, looking at it from another angle, it is already good that Yihua did not do anything excessive. However, for Yihua to bring Yi into the palace, it is most likely because he wants to see little Tian's attitude. That's right, this is the first time that little Tian met a girl that he likes, and he seems to have already fallen for her. Qian Yuqing said helplessly. What do you guys think Yihua's goal is? Donghuang Baiji had her own speculations, but she still wanted to hear everyone's opinion. When the time comes, I will help little Tian. What Yihua did is simply too excessive, how can he break up someone else? One would rather tear down a temple than tear down a marriage. Qian Yuqing said in a low voice, I feel that Yihua wants Yi to give up. Why? Qingya asked curiously. Because right now, little Tian has verbally rejected Yi, and thus, he has to act very cold. How can we girls endure such a feeling for a long period of time? Perhaps, we might be able to endure it in the beginning, but after a long period of time, no one would feel good about it. Qian Yuqing had the most authority to speak. Just now, Yihua was already cold towards her, and that kind of feeling made her heart feel like it was going to split apart, and she even had the thought of not wanting to live anymore. The deeper the love, the deeper the hurt. Seems like we have to think of a way. Qingya knocked on the stone table with her index finger. This time, I must definitely help them. Lovers should be together, why bother with so many backgrounds? What are you all sitting here for? Yihua walked over and asked faintly. Qingye laughed. It's nothing, we were just talking about the problem of children. Yuqing wants to have children. They are also discussing how to sleep with me. These three women are truly incredible. Let's talk about it after we settle little Tian's matter. Let's go to mother's place to eat first. There is a matter that I want little Tian to choose. Are we going to let little Tian choose a wife? Can we take a look first? Qingye said anxiously. Chapter 1079. Yihua said faintly, you all will know later, go and eat first. The three wives had no choice but to follow Yihua. However, just when Yihua walked into Lu Jing's bedroom, he heard a clear and melodious sound. Clang! Regardless of whether it was the palace maids inside or outside the room, they all went into a daze. What happened this time? Yihua wrinkled his brows and walked into the bedroom. Long live the emperor, may the empress be blessed. Yihua raised his hand, and before he even walked into the room, he heard an apology. Yi could be seen standing at a corner, and beneath her feet was a shattered vase. Lu Jing had a helpless look on her face, and even Daji had the same expression. This was already the third vase, and it seemed like all of the vases were going to be shattered. Daji, what's going on? Yihua asked gravely. Daji said respectfully, Master, when Yi was cleaning the vase, she accidentally broke it. I'm sorry, I really didn't do it on purpose, I'm just clumsy. Yi was about to cry from anxiousness. I wanted to do a good job, but I accidentally broke the vase. At this moment, Yi Juetian walked into the room, and he immediately saw Yi standing at the side. Yi looked very lonely, as if everyone in the room was targeting her. Looking at Yi's wronged look, Yi Juetian's expression didn't change, but his heart ached. Yi was indeed clumsy, but she was already working very hard to correct it. Yi looked at Yi Juetian. Although she knew what Yi Juetian meant, seeing that Yi Juetian didn't say anything, she still felt very sad. Clean up. Yihua said faintly. Not knowing why, when Yihua said this, the three wives and Yi Juetian let out a sigh of relief. They were afraid that Yihua would catch on to Yi's weakness and punish her. With little Tian watching from the side, it would be strange if Yi didn't die of sadness. Yi hurriedly squatted down to clean up the shattered vase, but she who was flustered ended up cutting her finger. However, Yi didn't say anything and hurriedly cleaned up. After that, she left the room and went to bring in the dishes. Right now, Yi Juetian was afraid of Yi carrying things. Everything about Yi was good, but she seemed to be naturally inflexible. Mother, I have already selected some women. Little Tian, take a look and see which one you are more satisfied with. Yihua waved his hand, and 5 women could be seen appearing on the table. It must be said that Yi Juetian had been properly arranged by Yihua, and there was no need for Yi Juetian to worry at all. It would be fine for Yi Juetian to just obediently stay at home and be the groom. Lu Jing waved her hands casually, and the 5 women began to spin. It was as if they were projections. They're all pretty good. Lu Jing smiled faintly. These women were all outstanding in terms of appearance, knowledge, and strength. Only such women were worthy of Lil Tian, and the children they gave birth to would definitely be outstanding. Qingye and the others also looked at the information of the 5 women. They were indeed very outstanding. All of them came from different planes, and some of them were even top-notch beauties in their planes. Yi Juetian looked at the 5 beauties in front of him and did not feel anything at all. His mind was filled with Yi, and he felt that Yi was 10,000 times better than them. If it was the Yi Juetian of the past, he would definitely say, I want them all. Perhaps, Yihua might really give it to Lu Jing, and Lu Jing would definitely not reject it. More daughters-in-law, more children, and more branches and leaves for Yi family. At this moment, the palace maids carried the dishes over and lightly placed the dishes on the table. Afterward, they lowered their heads and left. Yi was the same as well. She carried a bowl of soup and slowly walked over. When she saw the figures of the 5 women, her footsteps paused. The soup was more or less full to begin with, and with Yi's pause, the soup began to flow out. The scalding soup flowed onto Yi's delicate hands. Ah! Yi couldn't help but shriek out, and her reflex loosened. Clang! Shattering sounds rang out again. The soup was all over the floor, and Yi's hands were scalded red. It was truly a tragic sight to behold. When Qinya and the others saw this, they didn't know what to say. Why is Yi so clumsy? Even Lu Jing, who was originally very satisfied, wrinkled her brows. As palace maids, Yi is truly too stupid. Yi Juetian was afraid that his big brother would say something, and he said gravely, "Hurry up and clean up." After finished speaking, Yi Juetian felt uncomfortable in his heart. Yi's heart turned cold, and her thin and weak body slowly squatted down and cleaned up the leftovers. Yi Hua still didn't say anything, and he asked faintly, "Little Tian, which of these 5 women do you like? They are all very outstanding. Didn't you say before that you were going to find many wives? How about you take these 5 women together?" SSS. Yi's fingers were cut again. Ye said that he was going to find many wives, but Ye clearly said that he would only want me in this lifetime. Just who should I trust? Yi Juetian laughed lightly, "Big brother, I was just joking in the past, you even took it seriously. If that's the case, then choose one first. The others, wait for me. If you want one, Big brother will arrange it for you." Yi Hua said lightly, appearing very dictatorial. Yi Juetian really wanted Yi to quickly leave, but Yi didn't hurry up and clean up at all, seemingly wanting to listen to what Yi Hua said. Yi Juetian could be seen casually picking one, then said with a smile, "Big brother, mother, I feel that this lady is pretty good. She looks very virtuous, and she is also an overlord. She is not married, and in her place, she is also from the number 1 big family. Her name is also pretty good, Gong Yu." Lu Jing was very satisfied and said with a smile, "Little Tian, your eyesight is not bad. Mother also likes this lady Gong Yu. She has such achievements at such a young age, and she is very outstanding. She is well versed in zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Not bad, not bad." When Yi, who was cleaning up the leftovers, heard these words, her heart ached. "The others are so outstanding, and yet I am so clumsy. Yay, you told me to endure, and I agreed, but I'm afraid that there will come a day where I won't be able to endure. My heart is in so much pain." Yi Hua smiled satisfactorily, "Since little Tian is satisfied, I will make the arrangements later. You two should meet each other first and chat about your feelings. After your feelings have stabilized, you two can get married and let mother be at ease. I will listen to big brother and mother's arrangements." Yi Juetian said respectfully. He didn't look at Yi, because if he were to turn his head and look at Yi, big brother would probably do something bad. Yi Hua notified Wei Chang and told him to bring Gong Yu over. Wei Chang told Wei Chang to wait for a moment, and Gong Yu was currently saying goodbye to her family. Although Gong Yu said that she was going to kidnap and threaten them, in actuality, she was trying to convince them with the virtue. "The person that you are going to marry is the great overlord. My biological younger brother. Afterward, I will flaunt my strength a bit, and all kinds of people will become obedient." "Not obedient? Then I will do it until they are obedient." Isn't this just being obedient? However, what Yi Hua said to his wife was that they were willing to marry her, and I, the supreme overlord, would never force a woman to become a prostitute. That is a lowly thing, and I, the supreme overlord, feel disdain to do it. After Yi finished cleaning up the leftovers, she left. And when Yi Juetian heard the sound of Yi leaving, he let out a breath of relief. Chapter 1080. After that, nothing much happened. The family chatted and laughed as they ate their lunch, while Yi stood at the side and waited. Yi's white and tender little hand had yet to be treated, and it was currently red and swollen. Looking at it, one would truly feel heartache. However, right at this time, the sound of footsteps rang out from outside of the door. Yi Huan knew that Wei Chang had arrived. Other than Wei Chang's heavy footsteps, there was another light footstep behind him. A girl's upbringing could be heard from her footsteps. Lu Jing was very satisfied after hearing this. Her footsteps were neither too fast nor too slow. Her footsteps were gentle and respectful. Wei Chang appeared at the doorway and respectfully shouted out, "Your Honor, your Madam, your old Madam." It seemed like in Wei Chang's heart, this was the order of the order. Behind Wei Chang stood a woman. Her height had reached the ideal height, and she was about the same as Qingye and the others. Her skin was white, and there was not the slightest bit of flaw on it. Her figure and curves were also quite perfect, and her face was rosy and carried a trace of shyness, making her look even more charming. This was a goddess-like character. If it was the Yi Juetian of the past, he would definitely like her to death. However, the current Yi Juetian wanted to hug Yi and comfort her even more. "Come in," Yi Hua said faintly. "Yes, Your Honor." Wei Chang brought Gong Yu into the room, and when Gong Yu saw it for the first time, she was extremely nervous. The things that happened in the past few days were also confusing. Suddenly, a person came and asked her to marry someone, and she would definitely not regret it. Of course, Gong Yu didn't believe it until Wei Chang defeated her with a rock. The person she was going to marry was the younger brother of his boss. His first thought was that this younger brother of his must be an idiot. Otherwise, why would he need to do this? But now, she realized that this legendary younger brother wasn't like what she had imagined. He seemed very calm, and most importantly, he was very handsome. He was the type that she liked. Just now, she was still worried about what would happen if he was too ugly. He could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Moreover, this big brother was so powerful. If she became his brother's first wife, it would be very beneficial for her in the future. Gong Yu didn't dislike this marriage at all. She even felt that it was an opportunity that she had to grasp. With her beauty, she should be able to do it. "Little Tian, what's wrong? Don't you like it?" Yi Hua asked faintly. Yi Juetian stared blankly for a moment before revealing a smile. "I like it. It's too beautiful." When Gong Yu heard Yi Juetian praising her, she slightly lowered her head, feeling very shy. Lu Jing was very satisfied with her daughter-in-law. "Miss, you must be tired from the journey. Are you hungry?" "Empress Dowager, this commoner isn't hungry." Gong Yu could only address her like this for now. "What's your name?" "This subject's surname is Gong, and my name is Yu," Gong Yu said gently. In terms of beauty, Yi was indeed a little better. However, the confidence that Gong Yu exuded was much stronger than Yi's. Coupled with her gorgeous clothes, it further enhanced Gong Yu's beauty. At this moment, Yi looked like an ugly duckling. Lu Jing smiled gently and said, "Good name. What do you think of my son?" Gong Yu's face slightly reddened as she said shyly, I'm very satisfied, I'm just afraid that I'm not worthy of you." Everyone was very satisfied with Gong Yu's attitude. Yi Hua was very satisfied with Gong Yu's attitude. Gong Yu was not a fool. It was necessary for her to belittle herself to serve as a foil for her future husband. It would also give others a good impression. However, Yi Juetian did not feel anything, but he still pretended to be very satisfied. Yi, who was at the side, listened quietly, and when she saw the satisfied smile on Yi Juetian's face, her heart felt very cold. "Little Tian, accompany her out for a walk," Lu Jing said softly. She wanted to have a good chat with her. This girl was indeed not bad. What else could Yi Juetian do? He could only stand up and sneak a glance at Yi. He discovered that Yi was very unnatural, and his heart was aching faintly. Let's go. Yi Juetian walked to Gong Yu's side and said lightly. Gong Yu responded shyly, then left, appearing to be very polite. Xian Yuqing was a bit worried. Yi Hua's movements were too fast, and he did not give them any time to react at all. He came over so quickly, and he even came over willingly. Qin Yu was a bit puzzled. If this woman had a feeling of resistance, there would definitely still be a chance. However, this woman seemed to be very happy and did not have any other emotions at all. Looking at Yi Juetian and Gong Yu leaving, Yi didn't know what to do. She appeared to be very helpless and at a loss. Mother, I will be leaving first. Little Tian's matter should be able to be at ease now. Yi Hua said lightly. And, Yi Hua, it has been hard on you. Lu Jing said tenderly. I hope that after little Tian gets married, he will be able to be a bit more sensible like Yi Hua. Mother, what are you saying? Little Tian is my blood-related little brother, and his matter is naturally my matter. Lu Jing nodded her head. I hope that this time, I will be able to succeed. Wei Chang, follow me. Yes. Qin Ye and the others did not follow Yi Hua out and stayed behind to accompany their mother-in-law. Yi Hua and Wei Chang walked in the imperial palace. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then asked faintly, How is this woman's character? Your Honor, subordinate has inquired about this woman. This woman has a good character, and she has always been well behaved. Towards this kind of matter, Wei Chang naturally had to pay attention to it. Thus, the investigation on this woman was very strict. However, if a woman wanted to change, she only needed to do it once. Do you have any leads on the matter regarding the materials? Replying to Your Honor, because the materials are rare, the difficulty is rather high. Wei Chang said in a low voice. The materials that Your Honor mentioned were all rare and hard to find. Continue to look for the materials, just treat it as a vacation. Yes. Your Honor, subordinate will take my leave. After finished speaking, Wei Chang disappeared. Yi Hua smoked his cigarette and watched as Yi Juetian and Gong Yu walked out of the bedroom. Little Tian, back then, you asked Big Brother to help you find an outstanding and beautiful woman, and now, Big Brother has helped you find one. Furthermore, that woman is also very satisfied with you, so stop messing around. Yi Juetian and Gong Yu walked out of the bedroom. Yi Juetian did not say a single word, and Gong Yu followed behind Yi Juetian, not knowing what she should say. After all, this was the first time that she had encountered such a situation. In the past, it had always been other men who chased after her. Yi Juetian didn't care about the woman behind him at all, and all he could think about was Yi who was feeling wronged. I still don't know your name. Gong Yu took the lead and asked. In actuality, she already knew Yi Hua's name, and she intentionally asked again. If not, how could she start a conversation? If he didn't meet Yi Juetian would definitely be satisfied with Gong Yu. However, right now, in Yi Juetian's heart, there was only Yi, and no other women were able to squeeze into his heart. Yi Juetian. After speaking, Yi Juetian became silent, seemingly not wanting to say a single word. This caused Gong Yu to feel a bit helpless. Seems like this Yi Juetian was also forced into marriage. Chapter 1081. What I did just now was for my family to see, it was the same as me. But now, it's a little different, because I like you, so I want to get you, because the benefits of getting you are too great. Yi Juetian, I will make you completely fall in love with me. Being forced into marriage is very painful, right? Gong Yu let out a long sigh. If she wanted to walk into Yi Juetian's heart, she had to have a common topic. Gong Yu was able to become a sovereign at such a young age. It was enough to prove that she was very outstanding. Her mind was very clear. Yi Juetian paused for a moment, then said softly, "You don't seem to dislike it." "Who said that? I dislike this kind of forced marriage too. If two people live together without feelings, then they would rather die than live." Yi Juetian said indifferently, "You are right, living together without feelings is very painful." "Seems like we have the same opinion." Gong Yu smiled and said. She was currently guessing why Yi Juetian would be so against it. Her beauty and strength were very outstanding. If he didn't like them, then there was definitely someone else in his heart. If that was really the case, then it would be very difficult. To her, it was very disadvantageous. Yi Juetian laughed dryly, then became silent again. "There is a girl you like in your heart, right?" Gong Yu took the initiative and said. Yi Juetian paused for a moment and didn't say anything. Gong Yu lightly smiled and said, "Even if you don't say, I can guess it. Actually, I can also understand you. Not being able to stay with the girl you love is a form of torture. Both of us have no choice. Maybe I can help you." Gong Yu really wanted to know who the girl Yi Juetian liked was. To actually be able to compare to her, it must definitely be a very outstanding girl. "How are you going to help me?" Yi Juetian subconsciously asked. But just this one question, Gong Yu knew that her guess was right. As expected, there was a girl he liked. That was a big problem. It wasn't easy for her to meet such a person. Although she couldn't become his wife, she definitely had to become his younger brother's wife. Even if she had to use any means. "If you want me to help you, I can help you," Gong Yu said softly, raising her head to look at the sky above Nothingness Empire. Yi Juetian didn't say anything. He still didn't know if this girl could be trusted or not. What if she reported him? Wouldn't that cause Yi to die? The intelligent Gong Yu didn't rush to speak, and she silently followed behind Yi Juetian. Yi Juetian directly returned to his own palace, and Gong Yu naturally followed him in as well. She was currently thinking about how to integrate into this big family. "Aren't you going back to rest?" Yi Juetian turned around and asked curiously. Gong Yu spread her hands. "Are we going back? Can I still go back? I'm really sorry," Yi Juetian said helplessly. It was all because of him that this girl was captured or tricked into coming here. Gong Yu chuckled and said, "You don't have to apologize to me. Maybe this is the will of the heavens. I left my parents and came to this unfamiliar place to marry a stranger like you. I don't know what my life will be like in the future. If you want to go back, I will tell Big Brother," Yi Juetian said softly. Gong Yu chuckled. "Do you think I can go back alive?" Gong Yu's words were a little exaggerated, but after witnessing Wei Chang's skills, Gong Yu knew that this was a dragon's pool and tiger's den. There was no way they could escape. Therefore, when he said those words now, he felt a little pitiful. However, towards Yi Juetian's words, Yi Juetian firmly believed them. After all, with Big Brother's personality, he even beat up his own father. Yi Hua wanted to say, "I, the Supreme Overlord, never kill people. If you are tired, go into the house and rest for a bit. I will sit outside for a bit." After speaking, Yi Juetian walked towards the pavilion. Gong Yu did not go and rest. She followed Yi Juetian to the pavilion and sat down, then picked up the tea set and started brewing tea. "Right now, I am the only one who can help you." Gong Yu poured a cup of tea and passed it to Yi Juetian. "Can I trust you? If you still want to come into contact with her, other than trusting me, there is no other way, unless you want to not meet her for the rest of your life." "How is that possible? How is it possible for me to not meet Yi for the rest of my life? However, if I don't bribe her, what would I do if she finds out that I am doing a little secret? If I have her to cover for me, I will be able to be at ease. Today, Yi is very sad. I definitely have to go and meet her. I can't use a mirror to talk to her anymore." Yi Juetian steeled his heart and said gravely, "What you said is right, I have someone that I like, and this person is still in the palace." In the palace? Gong Yu cried out in shock, finding this hard to believe. And she is only an ordinary palace maid right now. Gong Yu, I was actually defeated by an ordinary palace maid. This is truly unbelievable. Just what kind of palace maid is it, to actually be able to bewitch you to this extent? Yi Juetian is still too young to actually tell this kind of thing to Gong Yu. Gong Yu's schemes are not just a normal kind of deep, it is already good enough that she did not cause trouble, yet you still want her to help you, you are truly dreaming. Then, what do you plan to do now? Gong Yu stabilized her mood. This matter has to be discussed at length, it cannot be done hastily. My mother and big brother both do not agree, they look down on her because she is only an ordinary person. Right now, I can only hide it well, do you understand? Understood. Gong Yu naturally understood. This means that their families are not suitable for each other, and only she is worthy of Yi Juetian. Chapter 1082. Idiot, it's fine as long as I like you. Why do I care about other people? Yi Juetian lightly rubbed Yi's beautiful hair, his heart aching endlessly. Yay, you and that girl. Originally, Yi didn't want to ask, but she couldn't help but feel sour in her heart. Yi, don't worry, there's nothing going on between me and that girl. We've already agreed that she's willing to help me. The reason why I can come out to see you tonight is also because she helped me hide it. She's a good person. Yi Juetian tightly held Yi's delicate hand, wanting to give her a sense of security. Really? Yi was overjoyed. She immediately felt happy and swept away the unhappiness of the day. Yes. Then I have to properly thank her. Go and ask her what she likes, I will buy it for her. Yi Juetian lightly caressed Yi's face and said gently, I will do all these. From now on, no matter what I say, it will be for big brother and mother to hear. Yes, I understand. I'm not sad, I'm not sad. Yi Juetian hugged Yi into his embrace. I truly feel sorry for this foolish girl, to actually let her suffer so much. Yay, your embrace is so warm. I really want to lie in your embrace forever. That way, I won't be cold anymore. Yi lightly rubbed against Yi Juetian's chest. She said that she was cold, but her heart was actually cold. Yi Juetian lightly caressed Yi's back. If you feel comfortable, then lean on her for a while longer. Yi, promise me. Don't lie to me, okay? Yi slowly raised her head and said seriously. Alright, I promise you, I won't lie to you in this lifetime. Yi Juetian pinched Yi's little face and revealed a smile. Yes, Yi, I believe in you. Yi also revealed a joyful smile, appearing so natural. The two of them stared at each other deeply. Yi seemed to be a little shy, not daring to look directly at Yi Juetian's fiery gaze. Meanwhile, Yi Juetian slowly lowered his head. His heart was beating like a jumping egg, violently trembling. Kissing Yi's lips, it felt so sweet, her first kiss was gone just like that. At this moment, Yi's eyes were wide open. Her kiss was gone. It was snatched away by Ye. However, she was willing to do so. Gradually, Yi relaxed and closed her eyes. However, in the darkness, Gong Yu narrowed her eyes as she looked at the two people hiding in a corner. Yi Juetian. As the younger brother of such a powerful figure, you actually like a palace maid. If such a thing were to spread out, where would your big brother put his face? But don't worry, I'll take back my face. How can I not deal with a little palace maid? What right do you have to snatch my man from me? Yi Juetian, you will be mine in the future. Who asked you to have an affair? Gong Yu gradually disappeared into the darkness. In a misty land, immortal mists swirled about. 5 colored rainbows shuttled through the mountain forests. It was beautiful beyond compare. However, there was a courtyard in the mountains that seemed rather unique. At this moment, Dong Huanging landed at the entrance of the courtyard and heaved a sigh of relief. This time, he was here to send a congratulatory gift. Dong Huanging was also very curious. Who was this Meng Yao? He heard that she was a very powerful woman in this world, and this time, she was undergoing tribulation. If she successfully crossed the tribulation, she would become the first female deity. Just how glorious was that? She would be on equal footing with a few great figures. Even the Eastern royal family had to send a congratulatory gift. It could be seen how important it was. I am Dong Huanging, and I am here to send a congratulatory gift. Dong Huanging stood at the entrance and shouted lightly. His voice was a bit high-pitched. There's no helping it, the lamp's wick had already been extinguished. Right after Dong Huanging finished speaking, a lump of immortal mist appeared in front of Dong Huanging, and a young lady who wore a white dress could be seen. The young lady bowed slightly and said, "So it's someone from the Eastern royal family. You are very courteous, please come in." "Thank you," Dong Huanging said with a smile, then followed the young lady into the courtyard. From the outside, the courtyard didn't look big, but after walking in, one would discover that it was a completely different world. It felt just like a small city. People were coming and going, and it was extremely lively. Furthermore, all of these people's expressions were filled with happiness, not a single one of them was frowning. Dong Huanging became curious and asked in a low voice, "Young lady, why are these people smiling so happily?" Of course, Ant is going to become the first female deity in the 9 provinces and 5 seas very soon. Therefore, everyone is happy for Ant. The young lady's face was filled with excitement and worship. "I see." Dong Huanging nodded. "Deity, that's King Invincible. Young lady, may I know when your aunt will come out of seclusion?" Dong Huanging asked curiously. "I'm not sure, maybe a few days, maybe a few months, maybe a few thousand years." Dong Huanging nodded. This tribulation is truly King terrifying. One has to taste the joys and sorrows of the human world in order to become a deity. Dong Huanging had heard some rumors before. Normally, only males would be able to pass through all the tribulations, because males were more stable and more ruthless. However, females were different. Especially when it came to the tribulation of love, ordinary people wouldn't be able to pass through it. I wonder what kind of tribulation Meng Yao is going through this time. Soon, the young lady brought Dong Huanging into an ordinary residence. However, everyone knew that a female deity was going to appear in this residence very soon. "Young Master Dong Huang, please take a short rest in the main hall." "Alright, thank you for your hard work." Dong Huanging nodded. In the main hall, other than Dong Huanging, there were a few other people who came to send their congratulatory gifts. Those who came to send their congratulatory gifts were all noble and respectable families in the 9 provinces and 5 seas, just like Dong Huang family. However, Dong Huanging didn't know these people. After coming here for a few months, this was his first time going out. Dong Huang is here too. At this moment, a man laughed softly. Dong Huanging glanced at the man's attire. This man was wearing a green robe. He should be from the Jiang family. As the descendant of a sovereign, he shouldn't be underestimated. "Brother Jiang." Dong Huanging cupped his hands and shouted in a low voice. If he wanted to survive in the 9 provinces and 5 seas, he would need resources. Now that he finally got the chance to come out, he should definitely make friends with some people. When the time comes, he would have someone to take revenge on. Jiang Min also cupped his hands and shouted, "Brother Dong Huang, you are too polite." The few people at the side obviously didn't want to join in. They sat quietly and drank their tea with arrogant expressions. Those who came to send their congratulatory gifts didn't mean that they were important people in the family, just like Dong Huanging. Brother Jiang, please sit. Brother Dong Huang, please sit. The two of them were just bragging. Hearing the few people at the side shaking their heads, it was really embarrassing. I don't know when this aunt will come out of seclusion. I want to see her in person. Dong Huanging also said. However, he was curious why everyone called her aunt. The people in this place were really weird. What if someone called her father in the future? Jiang Min said softly, Brother Dong Huang, I'm afraid this aunt won't come out of seclusion so soon. Why? I heard from the family head that this woman would usually go through the tribulation of love last. And the tribulation of love is the most fatal for a woman. However, this aunt is very talented. She might be different from other women. Chapter 1083. So that's how it is. After succeeding, it'll be glorious. I'm so envious. Dong Huanging said lightly. If I can also become a god, I will be able to kill Yi Hua with just a fart. The Empress will definitely worship me. Of course. Apart from the Nuwa clan that has disappeared for a long time, and is the only one who has reached this level. Jiang Min sighed. Dong Huanging nodded his head. The number of women who could rise to power could be counted with one hand, and most of them were men. At this moment, a woman with an ethereal temperament slowly walked out, followed by two young girls. Everyone, you've come from afar. We only have simple food here. Please forgive us. Everyone was polite. After all, the other party was about to become a deity. They could be rude in the past, but now they had to be respectful unless they failed the tribulation. Everyone's accommodations have been arranged. I hope everyone can have a good time here. After saying that, he gave a few instructions and turned to leave. Dong Huanging asked in a low voice, Who is this woman? This is Auntie's cousin. She's a very powerful woman. Don't provoke her. She hates men the most, Jiang Min whispered. Dong Huanging thought to himself, this woman must have been hurt by a man in the past, if not, why would she hate that man so much? Without love, where would the hate come from? Just like himself. In the beginning, he really hated the Empress for not marrying him. But only later did he realize that this kind of hatred was actually more of love. He had already fallen deeply in love with the Empress. In this life, for the Empress, he was willing to do anything. Within Voidless Empire's imperial palace, Yi Juetian, who had just had a private meeting with Yi, happily returned to his sleeping quarters. Upon thinking about how I kissed Yi just now, I felt so happy. I have never been so happy in my entire life. Yi's lips are so sweet. Thinking to there, Yi Juetian deeply sighed. So this was the feeling of liking a girl. If only he was an ordinary person, then no one would say anything. You're back. Gong Yu stood up and smiled. When Yi Juetian saw Gong Yu, he smiled slightly and said, I really have to thank you. How are you going to thank me? Gong Yu asked mischievously. Just now, Yi was asking what you liked. She was going to buy it for you. After Gong Yu heard this, she thought to herself, what do I like? I'm afraid Yi won't be willing to give it to me. But it doesn't matter. Even if you don't give it to me, I can still snatch it from you. Yi is really a good girl. You have to treat her well. Gong Yu smiled gently, appearing very sensible. Yi Juetian's impression of Gong Yu was also rising. However, this impression was only between friends. After all, Gong Yu was helping him right now. Furthermore, she was helping him as his fiancée. This was a great kindness. It's getting late, let's rest early, Yi Juetian said subconsciously. Then where will you arrange for me to sleep? Gong Yu smiled lightly. It had to be said that Gong Yu was indeed very beautiful. If Yi was not here, Yi Juetian would definitely like her. After all, Gong Yu had a good figure, a pretty face, and strength. Furthermore, she was very obedient. There were very few women like this in the world. Ah, I forgot. I'm really sorry. I'll ask Big Brother to arrange it. Are you stupid? You let your big brother arrange it. Isn't it because you're not satisfied with me? Gong Yu said snappily. Yi Juetian suddenly came to a realization. He had been too happy just now and had overlooked it. Then what should we do? If we want your big brother and mother to be at ease, we have to live together. Gong Yu had now become a strategist. This was what Gong Yu wanted to see. She wanted to first obtain Yi Juetian's trust. Live together. Yi Juetian deeply frowned. If he really lived together with Gong Yu, Yi would definitely find out. Yi knew that she would definitely be very sad. However, no matter how sad she would still smile at him. Looking at Yi's smile, his heart also felt a dull pain. However, if he did not create this kind of illusion and pretend to be satisfied, what would happen if his big brother and mother made things difficult for Yi? Gong Yu nodded. We are going to get married in the future. Although it's all fake, we still have to put on a show, don't you think so? Yi Juetian did not reply and sank into deep thought. Gong Yu slightly sighed and said gently, if you really are not willing, then I'll go and explain the situation. I'll just say that I don't like you, and I'll accept the result. Don't. Yi Juetian said solemnly. Hearing Yi Juetian stop her, Gong Yu was still very happy. He really knew how to care for girls. However, Yi Juetian was actually thinking that he had finally found a helper. Even if she left, there would still be a second one. At that time, it was unknown whether or not she would help him, so he could not do that. Let's go into the room and rest. Gong Yu was very happy in her heart. Don't worry, I won't take advantage of you. I'll sleep on the floor. Yi Juetian was amused. Look at what you're saying, it's more like I'm taking advantage of you. Do you dare? Gong Yu stuck out her tongue, looking like she was teasing him. I really don't dare. Haha, coward. Gong Yu laughed. The surrounding palace maids all heard this laughter and felt that they were really compatible. The news of Yi Juetian and Gong Yu sleeping together would definitely spread. After all, so many palace maids saw it. After walking into the room, Gong Yu said gently, I'll just sleep on the floor. How can that be? There's a bed in the small room at the side. You can sleep there. Yi Juetian said softly. Gong Yu thought that she was going to sleep on the bed at the side, but she was arranged to sleep at another place. Alright, that's right, what are you planning to do from now on? Are you really going to fake your marriage with me? Gong Yu suddenly asked. Yi Juetian let out a breath. For now, this is the only way. My big brother is so powerful that it makes one's hair stand up in anger. I won't be able to run away at all. Is your big brother that powerful? And his power is something that you won't be able to imagine. Yi Juetian felt a headache. If only I didn't ask my big brother to find a wife for me back then. Oh, you should find some place to rest then. And you rest early too. Gong Yu walked into her own small room and closed the door. Her expression gradually tensed up. Fake marriage. That doesn't exist. Yi Juetian, could it be that I, Gong Yu, am unable to attract you? I don't believe it. Right now, Yi was living in the palace maid's room. The room was like those kind of dormitories where a lot of maids slept in a row. A smile appeared on the corner of Yi's mouth, and from time to time, Yi would touch her lips. That feeling just now was so subtle, and the more Yi thought about it, the shy Yi felt. Yi lightly bit onto her lips and covered her head with the blanket. Right when Yi was reminiscing about that feeling, a few palace maids walked in and were currently chatting with each other. Just now, I saw that Prince Yi and that fiancé of his were chatting and laughing, and I feel that they are so compatible. Chapter 1084. Ah, what's going on? What's going on? This matter has already spread out in the palace. Prince Ye's fiancée is going to be the prince's wife in the future, and just now, they even walked into the bedroom together. Who knows? They might be doing shameful things right now. The palace maid said with an envious expression, wishing that she could also be favored. Shoo shoo shoo, shameless. And you still say that I'm shameless. Do you like Prince Yi too? Prince Yi is so handsome, I will definitely like him. Yi, who was hiding in the quilt, heard everything. Just a moment ago, she was still filled with happiness, but right now, she immediately felt heartache. They all thought that Ye and that girl were a good match, and they were even talking and laughing. Also, and even walked into the bedroom together. No. Ye did this on purpose. Ye even reminded me just now, that must be the case. I have to empathize with Ye. Just as Yi finished thinking, she immediately felt cold. Yi sat up and touched onto her forehead. It's all wet, even her hair is wet from the rain. A few palace maids stood in front of her, and one of them was holding onto a wooden bucket. I didn't hold onto the bucket properly, I'm really sorry. The palace maid that splashed the water said with a weird voice. She was obviously jealous of Yi's beauty. Yi touched onto the wet quilt and said softly, "It's all right." Following Yi's words, the palace maids went into a daze for a moment, then immediately laughed. So she is a fool. Yi sat up and hugged onto her quilt, preparing to take it out to dry. However, how could these extremely jealous palace maids possibly let Yi off so easily? When Yi walked over, one of the palace maids stretched out her leg. Yi didn't even pay attention and was directly pushed onto the ground. Ah! Yi shouted out in pain. Originally, the quilt was only wet, but now, it was dirty, and even her clothes were dirty. Yi, why are you so careless? You need to open your eyes when walking. The palace maid said with a mean tone. The meaning of mockery was very obvious. Yi slightly lowered her head and said lightly, "I'm sorry." The palace maids all had a smile of disdain on their faces and silently scolded Yi for being an idiot. I really want to shave that face of hers, just looking at it makes me so annoyed. Foxy. Yi, who walked outside, let out a sigh of relief when she heard the disdainful scolding that came from inside the room. Everyone hates me, am I that unlikable? She fetched some clean water and washed the bedding on this windy night. Suddenly, the mirror inside his clothes vibrated, and a faint sound came from inside. Yi. Hearing Yi Juetian's voice, Yi's mood immediately became better, and she hurriedly took out a small mirror. Yay! Yi shouted happily. Yi Juetian laid on the bed and frowned slightly. In the mirror, Yi's hair was dripping wet. Moreover, it was already so late. Why was she still outside? What's wrong? Is your hair wet? Yi Juetian asked with concern. Oh, I just took a bath and my hair hasn't dried yet. Don't worry, Yay. Even though she felt very wronged, Yi did not say anything. She did not want to cause trouble for Yi Juetian, and she felt that she was a big trouble. Yi Juetian's heart ached when he saw this. Yi, don't stay out so late at night. Hurry up and go back to sleep. The temperature at night is also very low. Yay, I understand. Yi nodded, as though she wanted to ask something, but didn't dare to. Yi Juetian seemed to understand what Yi was thinking about, so he took the mirror and shook it. Yi, I am sleeping alone. Seeing that Ye was sleeping alone, Yi revealed a smile. She was really stupid, why would Ye lie to her? I understand. Yi said with a gentle smile. I suddenly miss you. Yi Juetian really wanted to hug this soft and weak girl in his arms and protect her for the rest of her life. Yi suddenly revealed a beautiful smile. Yi Juetian dared to swear that this was the most beautiful smile he had ever seen. Yay, I miss you too. Yi Juetian suddenly felt that his heart and Yi's were tightly linked together, as though they couldn't be separated no matter what. Yi, hurry up and go back to sleep, if not you will catch a cold. And I will go back to sleep immediately. Be obedient. Yi Juetian stretched out his hand and touched Yi in the mirror, a doting look on his face. Yi nodded, I will always listen to you. Good. After cutting off the connection, Yi Juetian kept the mirror and went to sleep with a blissful smile on his face. Yi did the same. She slowly kept the mirror, then washed the bedding with a smile on her face, washing away all of the stains. After leaving the bedding to dry, Yi let out a breath, then walked back to the room. The bedding is gone, Yi had no other choice but to climb onto her bed and roll up her body. Although it was very cold, her heart felt warm, because there was Ye in her heart. The next day, before the sun had even risen, Yi woke up because she had to prepare for work. Achu Yi, who was holding on to the broom, couldn't help but sneeze. She thought to herself, I definitely caught a cold last night. What's wrong? Daji walked by and asked. Yi hurriedly lowered her head, I'm fine. Be more careful when you do things today, don't be careless anymore, understand? Daji warned. She had already broken all kinds of things yesterday, and Master's mother seemed to have an opinion about it. If it really doesn't work, then I will just get someone else to serve in the room. Yi said with an anxious expression, and I will definitely correct myself. Daji nodded, I will go and prepare breakfast. Tidy up the room a bit and serve the Empress Dowager well. Yes. Yi replied respectfully. The Empress Dowager is Ye's mother, I must definitely give her a good impression. I did a lot of wrong things yesterday, and although the Empress Dowager didn't say anything, I feel that she is blaming me a bit. I must definitely do things properly. Seeing that the Empress Dowager was preparing to get up, Yi hurriedly walked over to serve the Empress Dowager. Lu Jing looked at the careful Yi and said softly, Yi, take your time, there is no need to be nervous. Yi, who was currently tidying up Lu Jing's clothes, went into a daze. The Empress Dowager actually didn't blame me, and even consoled me. This is great. Empress Dowager, I was clumsy and broke a lot of things yesterday. Yi took the initiative to admit her mistake, and this made Lu Jing feel gratified. To be able to admit one's mistake bravely, that means that one is a good child. Lu Jing smiled gently, just be more careful in the future. And I understand. Yi was very touched. Ye's mother treats me so well, I should treat Ye's mother well as well. Lu Jing nodded her head, go and prepare the medicine for me first, I will drink it later. And I will go right now. Wait. Does the Empress Dowager have any other instructions? Yi turned around and asked doubtfully. Lu Jing asked curiously, did Daji tell you how to prepare the medicine? And she told me everything. Lu Jing nodded her head, go. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.